Welcome to Trashy Thursday in my studio. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love to pull things that would normally be bound for the trash can or the recycling bin, and I like to use them in my studio. So I decided to start a somewhat regular series showing you things that I collect and then what I do with them. So here is my collection from the past probably 2 weeks. They've just been accruing in a little box, and so I figured I would show you everything that I have before I start with a project. So one thing that I tend to get a lot of is this packing paper. Either Amazon boxes. I get my dog food shipped from Chewy, and they use the same kind of paper. So I tend to use this, and I just unfold it, which I won't do on camera because it's very loud. But I will use this as under paper, which then, of course, becomes collage paper and everything else. So this does not go in the recycle bin or the trash. And then another thing related to my dogs, they get these bark boxes every month, and they always have, number one, these cute little ads or packaging that comes in each box. So when we get a box each month, it has a different theme, and then you open it and it has all their toys and treats and stuff. So I like to save these for two reasons. Number one, I love the graphics, so sometimes I'll just cut these out and use them either in one of my collage journals or one of my handwritten journals. And then other times, for example, this middle part, obviously I don't want to keep all the pictures of the different toys they could have gotten. But this is a great weight, and I will actually use these as tags. So I'll go ahead and cut them out and turn them into tags. So these also not in the recycling. This week I got this little special, in the old days it would have been a catalog. Now it's just an ad for a new line that's at Target. And I love these colors. So I know that I'm going to use this somehow in a collage. Either some of those collage pieces where I just need a block of a color, like these pink spots would be great. But as I go through, I love that font, even if I'm not using the whole thing and just using a strip to get some words. So there's all kinds of things in here I know that I am going to use for collage pieces coming up. These ads, even if they don't have colors or patterns that you would like to use, they make great little magazine books. So you can either just use it as is, you could cut it down to a different size, and then just gesso it and start using it as a journal. Because usually they're a little heavier weight, so it makes it great. So this also will get tucked into my little pile. And then here I have some items that are bound for my gel plate. So in one package I received this great cardboard with a different pattern. This will be great for my gel plate, creating different marks. I also had something that was wrapped up in this paper, which is not my normal paper. It's almost like bubble wrap, but made out of craft. So I see myself using this two ways. Number one, pressing onto my gel plate so that I get some of that texture. But then once this gets full of paint and goodness, I can see myself using pieces of it in a collage. So this has multiple purposes. I bought something There was 2 bottles, and this was what was holding it together. So again, I thought great for my gel plate, just a different pattern. I always save these little netting bags because I do use them on my gel plate, but I also like to use them in some of my books. So I like to cut them out, just use them as if I would use fabric. So I always hang on to these. I had an extra large lid top. So I went ahead and saved that again for printing. Who knows? I tend to keep anything that circles. I have, you know, all of my little like tubes and stuff that are circular. So I tend to, anything that's kind of circular, I like to hang on to. And I do like that it has these concentric circles. So that'll add a little bit of different pattern to something. And then when I was at my son's last race, as I was walking, I went under this tree and there were these, I'm going to call them monkey pods. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're like some sort of seed pod that was on the ground. So of course I stopped and picked up a few. Again, I'm going to use them on my gel plate to get some of that texture onto some paper. But then I can see myself using these once they're all good and painty. I have been known to glue such items straight into a journal. So don't be surprised if you see that again. And then I have, this is a little stack of paper that is actually from my grandparents. My grandparents are no longer with us, but I've been helping my mom go through some of their things. And it's funny because the things that she thinks are trash, I am loving. So found these old aged index cards that are kind of yellowed, and they were 3 for 39 cents. So you can guess how long ago those must have been from. I found an old Monopoly game, and inside there were all these sheets where they had been keeping score. So I kept those just because I love notebook paper, first of all, and I love handwriting. Something my grandmother had cut out that was a meatloaf recipe from February 17th, 1999. So it's not super old, but just thought that was cute. Some more things with my grandmother's handwriting on it. And then I found some stationery that has my grandparents' old address on it, as well as like things from amusement parks and maps, just all kinds of brochures and stuff that was just sitting down in their in-law suite. My grandparents lived with my parents until they died. And so there was an in-law suite downstairs that was just full of all this stuff. Again, some old stationery just with my grandparents' address on it. But just things that I thought, oh, I can use those in a collage, and now they're not bound for the trash can. I ordered a couple new pairs of glasses. Some people ask where I get my glasses, so this is where I get them. I love their fun and funky ones. So I got a couple pairs, and it came with this nice sturdy box. So this is going to be transformed into something. Not quite sure what yet. And then I also have, I've started keeping these boxes. Yes, I know it's bad to drink artificial sweeteners. This is like my one thing, is I just, every once in a while, I don't like to have plain water. I need flavored water, so this has become my thing. And they come in these little boxes, which I tend to keep and reuse now. So one of them I actually, if you were part of my dare the 3-day dare that I did probably a month ago, I used one of the boxes as a holder. So you can still see at the bottom. I just covered the sides. And then it was a holder for these little cards that we created. So I like to use these boxes for things like that. And I can cut them down like this. The red one I've already cut down a little bit because the top was torn. So I just trimmed it off to make it a little shorter. You could make, you could cut them down to any size. I also was thinking I might pull one apart and use it as a template, because then as I cut out paper, I already have a template that I could just trace around. So might be doing that. And speaking of templates, I had this little envelope from recent stay at a hotel, and I thought this would be really cute in a collage journal or one of my little journals to create a pocket. But I went ahead and I just tore it, or not tore it, but I pulled it apart. So now I can use this as a template. I can go ahead and create a template for myself. And the nice thing is I have a brother scan and cut, so I can create a template, scan it in, and then I can let the machine cut it out for me, and I can also resize it. So if I want a bigger pocket, smaller pocket, and could I have just made this template myself? Sure. It's just easier when it's already done and you don't have to do any of the corner rounding or any of that kind of stuff to think about. It's just nice when you have something you want to use that size to just go ahead and make your template. So that is what I have found this week. And I mentioned other things, like for example, I have this old Monopoly board I'm still trying to figure out. I think it might get cut down and become some journal covers. So I have a few other things like that I rescued from the trash and donation piles that we were making. So I am going to go ahead and figure out which project I want to start with, and make sure you follow along for Trashy Thursday as we make stuff from things that would normally be just thrown away. So have a great day and happy arting.